It really is a thrill for me to be here at this annual conference. It's been 11 years since my husband was first elected as a member of the North Ogden City Council. We always both looked forward to this chance to come together and interact with all of you for a few days each fall. Many of you know that Brent and I were married in September, and so this ULCT convention often doubled as an anniversary getaway from all the kids at home. Clearly, I married a hopeless romantic. 17 years ago today, I was a newlywed bride with starstruck eyes and a life full of dreams ahead of me. My husband and I were young and ambitious and eager to serve our God, our family, and our country. He was on his way to boot camp as a private first class in the Utah Army National Guard, and I was on my way back to school, not as a student, but as a public teacher of history, government, and psychology classes in Spanish Fork, Utah. 2 years ago today, I was an overwhelmed mother of 7, eagerly counting down the final weeks of my husband's 4th deployment to the Middle East. The kids and I had made it through 8 months of what felt like the world spinning upside down while he was away, only to then be thrown further off track by the news we received less than 6 weeks later. The news that he would not be coming back alive. You know the feeling you've all had since March of this year, when the advent of the coronavirus pandemic flipped everything on its head? When everything you thought you knew about the way the world worked was tossed out the window and left you with a whole pile of new unanticipated work? When the most normal of normal circumstances and events were abruptly interrupted by the unprecedented use of the words unprecedented times? Yeah, that's pretty much how I've felt since the dawn of 2018, the year when my husband deployed and then was killed in action in Afghanistan. So when I say my hat's off to you as mayors, as city councilmen, as those who run our cities and towns, for the way that you've adjusted the sails, rolled with the punches, and sometimes just made it up as you've gone along, I'm sincere in saying that. I know exactly how that feels. My hat is off to you, and my heart is with you. Thank you for all that you are doing. In the words of one of my greatest personal role models, you are doing a better job than you likely think you are. I imagine that you, like me, have had an occasion or two when you have found yourself asking yourself the question, is it worth it? Is the work you do and the energy you spend and the risks you take for the greater good around you really worth it? Are your unprecedented efforts in these unprecedented times really worth it? My answer to that question is an unequivocal yes. I would even argue that the answer has to be yes. If the answer is anything other than yes, we are in a mess as communities, as cities and towns, as a country and a world, and especially in our homes and in our families. The work you are doing is worth it. The way you do that work going forward will determine whether or not it remains worth it. The choices you are making today, the agenda items you are deliberating over today, the issues you are concerned to resolve today aren't only matters for your generation and mine. Everything you do today will matter for generations to come. The zoning ordinances and the mixed-use facilities and the community amenities and the staff organization and the city department structures you are developing today will determine the kinds of neighborhoods and school systems and opportunities for recreation and really the overall quality of life that will be available in your city or town when my grandchildren are having children. Yes, what you are doing matters. Yes, the matters you face in your city or town matter. Yes, your residents matter. And the matters that matter to them should matter to you. Now, don't get all worried that in order to do this, you have to be a perfect mayor or a perfect councilman or a perfect department head. No one ever claimed you were perfect when they elected you or when they hired you. No one ever claimed your city or town was perfect when they moved there. In fact, no one ever claimed that this country was perfect. But we can and ought to live up to the claim that we are committed to becoming a continually more perfect union. One day, one city ordinance, and one respectful conversation at a time. The work ahead of us is ours to do. It starts at home and in our hometowns. Our grassroots efforts to improve the cities and towns in which we live are exactly what this country needs to bring us all back to our collective roots. Our patriotism and public service doesn't have to be mired in politics as usual. In fact, those of you who hold municipal offices in the state of Utah get to do so as non-partisan officials. What a great and unusual opportunity you have to set the stage for not only working across the aisle, but actually bringing people together in such a way that they forget they were ever supposed to stay on only one side of that aisle anyway. Will it be worth it? Will the time and effort and energy and even sometimes agony of your job as a municipal official be worth it? You decide. You get to decide. No outside force or inside source gets to decide how effective you are as a leader. That is entirely up to you. To paraphrase the words of the great John F. Kennedy, it isn't so much a matter of what you single-handedly can do as a leader. It's a question of what you draw out of and inspire in those you seek to lead. And to paraphrase the words of my late and great husband, North Ogden's former mayor, Brent Taylor, we truly do have so much more that unites us than divides us. As cities and towns, as friends and neighbors, as public servants and everyday residents. May God bless us in our efforts to continually become a more perfect union. May He bless us in our commitments to serve, protect, and defend the very American way of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And above all, may He bless all of us to find ways large and small every day to make sure we make it worth it. Thank you.